The following is a special presentation of iRacing on LSRTV, your home for sim racing.
Welcome tonight to LSRTV for the presentation of the 7th round of the Bootleg Racing League Outlaw Modified Series here from the home of the Snowball Derby, Five Flags Speedway. Randy Cheneth, Gabe Wood, and Cisco Scaramouza bringing you all the action in this one. And, well, Gabe, after a bit of drama last week, points are pretty much all over the place. Kuzma and Alphonse, 1 point between them for that top spot.
Yep, and two-time winner J.R. Shepard goes down the board, back to third, more than 10 points back of Charlie Kuzma after that last week race at Myrtle Beach Speedway. He did not have the race he wanted. It looks like he's going to try and have the race he needed to last week. He's going to try and have it this week because he is leading the practice sheets by over half a tenth. So he's looking to come back strong here here at Five Flags.
Definitely looking to have a good race. Him and a lot of other people all sort of in the same boat. You of course have J.R. Shepard and Kenny Kibbe. They're tied. As if you could hear that, you can shout out to Gillespie Field for that aircraft that's flying over. It's pretty loud. John Holcomb also in the mix there in the top 5. Then things start getting a little bit more separated out as you get further down the list. Donnie Moore 7 points back from Holcomb. Shinosky's a little bit close with Lowell Jewell as well, but when you get out of about 6th, 7th in the points, you start getting into people who've had, on average, pretty downer seasons.
Yeah, you start getting into guys like Jason Harnett, who started on the pole last week but did not have the race that he wanted, and guys like Mike Holloway, an average start of 10th and an average finish of 8th. So these guys just want to try and salvage at least the best that they can throughout the year. You got guys like Matt Shinosky. He's not too far behind. He does have the win that he got earlier this season at Oxford Plains, but that has been the one bright spot on that double zeros year. He's going to have to try and turn it around.
The unfortunate thing with someone like Mike Holloway is you talk about these guys, some of the guys who are having really good seasons, they don't have very good average starts either. You look at J.R. Shepard, average start of 8th, Kenny Kibbe, average start of 7th, Donnie Moore, average start of 8th as well. Those guys in the top 5, top 6. But when you talk about Mike Holloway, while on average he's starting about 10th, the sad, unfortunate truth of the matter is that, a couple times he'll finish 2nd, 3rd, 4th, somewhere up around there, and then it'll be sprinkled in with starts around 11th, 12th, 13th. So because of those good finishes, he'll start relatively near the back. Then the actual finishes where he starts just flat out in the back of the field is really what's been hurting him this season because, he's not having the good results to go with the bad starting position that a lot of the guys up front have.
I want to talk about Randy just a couple of things before we get started here tonight. About a minute and a half till we get these guys underway. A couple of news and notes. Penalties after the last race at Myrtle Beach. Stefan Alphonse, your winner, has been caught with a over-aggressive driving penalty. It's his first offense, so it is a warning, along with Todd Liston, who's been stuck with basically an ARCA brake warning for racing through an incident after the caution flag came out. And then, just a couple of minor offenses, nothing to worry about there, but those guys are going to have to be careful here tonight and for the rest of the year. And a couple other notes. Got a couple of new drivers. Jason Minda, Ben Azenga, and Wade Gladson have joined the Modified Tour.
Yeah, so Jason, Ben, and Wade, I know at one point I'm going to pronounce his name via the abbreviation and call him Bazinga at some point, and I'll regret that, I'm sure. But, talking about here as we're getting ready to get things started, Five Flag Speedway, one of the quickest short tracks in the United States. Half mile, of course, most famous for the Snowball Derby. Super late models, I think the most famous cars you'll see around here. But these modifieds, they're sure to put on a good night as the practice timer comes to an end now.
Yeah, and I've had a couple of friends run the Snowflake 100, the preliminary race before the Snowball Derby, and they said they love this racetrack, and it's almost exactly the way it is on the sim. You come off turn 4, you can't see that apron, and the car wants to get loose. We're going to see that a couple times tonight.
Well, as the timer counts down, we will have your starting grid. Of course, this series takes into does reverse grids after the results from every single week. So your top 10 get flipped. Race winner starts 10th. 10th place finisher starts on the pole. So with that, let's go down your starting grid for the 7th round here at Five Flags. Out in front, Charles Lahr in the number 4 will roll off on pole position with Mike Holloway in 2nd. Todd Liston in 3rd with Lowell Jewell starting on the outside of him, and Dustin Powers will round out your top 5.
Lowell Jewell ran a great race last week at Myrtle Beach Speedway. We're going to say that. He led the first opening lap, so he's going to look to try and have a good race here. Eric Nordhoff in 6th place. Kenny Kimmy in 7th. Donnie Moore in 8th. Stefan Alphonse, last week's winner, in 9th. And running out your top 10 is going to be the 75 of John Hayden.
JR Shepard, one of the best drivers, I think, in this series. Back-to-back wins once again in the couple preliminary races before this to street stocks and limited late models. He'll roll off 11th, but look for him to fly through the field. John Holcomb in 12th, Matt Chinoski in 13th, and one of the new guys, Ben Ezinga, going to be rounding out the 14-car grid. I think the car to watch here tonight, the cars to watch really to watch, the cars to really watch tonight, excuse me. JR Shepard in that 98 and John Holcomb in that 69. They're going to be coming through this field, I think, relatively quickly. We've seen JR Shepard fly through the field in this series in the past. Where the field works themselves through corners number 1 and 2, you know the anxiety levels are going to be high as these guys want to get themselves out there and racing. Charles Lahr is going to look to have a good and fast race tonight, along with Mike Holloway and Todd Liston. Those three not having the sort of seasons they would like. Maybe they can rebound here at round number 7. But the iRacing safety car is going to duck to the safety of pit road. Charles Lahr wastes no time. He gets on it. We are green here at Five Flags. Charles Lahr is more than clear. Holloway and Liston are side by side for 2nd.
Gonna have to watch that outside lane, see what he can do here. Five Flags Speedway. 31 watches up the racetrack. Battle for 2nd still going on. Todd Liston and that Pepsi machine. Can he get that bottom lane working? He's just going to get a little bit loose there, as along with the 25 of Dustin Powers, who's cleared Lowell Jewell for the 4th position. Dustin Powers up into 4th, now up into 3rd as the 31 loses momentum on the outside.
Holloway not faring well up on that top groove, but look for that to potentially come in over the race, both with the track changing over the course of this one and the tires going away, as Todd Liston's going to cycle into 2nd, and the 31 of Holloway is going to find some way to get the weight down in line. He will come down in 4th. Lowell Jewell, meanwhile, he's fighting for that 5th spot with the 14 of Kenny Kimmy. He also has Stefan Alphonse, and we talked about him, JR Shepard. He's already up 3 spots, 11th up to 8th.
I was going to say that right before we got to the green flag. Those guys, Stefan Alphonse and JR Shepard, they're going to be looking to take over this championship lead. And that's going to be the one thing they're going to have to do, because they finish up front every race. So they get really good at working their way up to these fields. Stefan Alphonse just got passed by Kenny Kimmy. Got past Kenny Kimmy. Kimmy Rex coming off of turn number 4. Big pile up. JR Shepard. No, excuse me. That is the 69 machine of John Holcomb involved, along with the back half of the field.
Yeah, there's 6-7 cars junked in 1 and 2. Not really sure what the exact problem is. Getting a replay of that. The 14 of Kenny Kimmy coming off corner number 4. Actually, relatively simplistic incident. He just sort of plowed the wall, got a little bit tight, and then unfortunately the 26 car of Donnie Moore kind of hooked him, and well, that spun them down right into the lane of traffic. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I count 7 cars that were involved. Kimmy, Moore, Nordhoff, Matt Chinoski, a couple others, of course, Holcomb, John Hine, and Ben Ezinga. That's not the sort of Ezinga I think he wanted to end his race on, but of course he does get a reset that all the drivers that just were involved in that incident would take. But man, oh man, that's the biggest wreck I think we've seen in this season.
Randy, I might just choke you by the end of the night for all those Bazinga jokes.
That's fine by me. A little bit of death never hurt no one.
Now, the good thing for these guys is they get the 1 reset. Now, a lot of the guys up front, they want to keep that for the final few laps in case they do get in a wreck. They can salvage a finish. But guys like the 17 of Ben Ezinga and John Holcomb, and guys like the 22 machine as well of Eric Nordhoff, they've taken that reset, so they're not going to have it for the rest of the night. If they get involved in another wreck, that's the car they got to ride it out to the finish.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing to watch. 1 car is down on pit road. Who actually is that? I believe it's the 00 Matt Chinoski. And let's see, I don't think he's actually come down pit road yet. Is he going to opt to take a fast repair? No, he's actually just going to pull it down on pit road. Is that 00 not liking his car? And John Holcomb seems to be calling it a bit of a night as well. So that 69 machine not liking it. I think the problem is a lot of those guys after that incident, even after maybe taking the fast repair, they're all locked 1 lap down. Because right now we have Ben Ezinga, Kenny Kimmy, Donnie Moore, and then Holcomb and Hine 9 all currently locked down a lap. Not sure what the story with Shinovsky. He's actually on the lead lap after that incident, so not sure why he's kind of calling it a night right here.
Updating running order. Lights are out atop the iRacing.com Ford Mustang pace car. Charles Lahr continues to lead. Todd Liston up from third now to second. Dustin Powers in third. Mike Holloway in fourth. And Lowell Jewell in fifth. They're going to have to look out and hold off Stefan Alphonse and J.R. Shepard. Shepard starting on the inside lane, so look for him to maybe get an advantage on Stefan, the 13 machine.
Let's see what happens. Fireworks early here at Five Flags. The pace car comes off, and Charles Lahr once again wastes no time getting on it. We're back to green flag racing. He's in towards corner number 1 and 2. I think Todd Liston might just be able to get down to that inside. No, he's not. The 25 car, Dustin Powers, going to immediately slot it down there. He's going to take that second spot away. The fight's now on for third. That's Mike Holloway and Todd Liston fighting. We saw these two side by side earlier. This time Holloway has the advantage down low. Stefan Alphonse is in the wall. Almost a mirror image incident here coming down the front straightaway. We got 2 cars around in 1. Give me 3.
Oh, and the 17 of Azinga again caught up in that. You gotta hate him for the rookie. It's his first race, and he's pretty much already out of tonight's event. Doesn't look too bad on the damage, but the 13 machine took a hard hit on the outside wall and rode the outside wall through turn 1. It looks like Nordhoff also involved in that as well.
I'm a little bit cautious about the damage on that 17 car because he had a big trip coming back down. He sort of hit the wall and bounced up way in the air, and then the car slammed back down. This sort of racing car suspension, Gabe, doesn't have particularly long travel, and you can do a lot of damage just on the car actually just hitting the ground once you get air like that. We saw Spencer Piggott, the Indianapolis Grand Prix, do that earlier today and had a big recovery drive because of it. So that's fireworks early for those guys, and you're absolutely right. That 17 of Ben Azinga, you know, he would have already used his reset, I believe, in that first incident. So now if he has damage, he sort of just got the short end of the stick. As the field is going to work themselves around now. Charles Lahr and that JB's chassis setups number 4 machine still leads the way technically. Of course, we only ran about a lap under green flag conditions right there. Pretty hard hit coming through. Dustin Powers slips into the second spot. Mike Holloway is going to be happy with that. He'll sit in third. Todd Liston in fourth. Lowell Jewell has cycled up to fifth. Then J.R. Shepard started 11th. He's already rolling 6th out here on the racetrack. Of course, he's dodged a couple of those incidents. Probably picked up, you know, we know he picked up 3 spots under green flag racing. I think the other couple likely came from dodging that last incident, or one of the incidents rather. Donnie Moore and then Kenny Kibbe's 1 lap down. Stefan Alphonse, I believe, is your last runner on the lead lap. You have 3 cars that are right now on lap down. They're all on the racetrack. Donnie Moore, Kenny Kibbe, and Ben Azinga, the drivers that are currently cycling on the racetrack 1 lap down. Let's see what the iRacing safety car does. We'll be getting the 1 to go. Nope, 2 left here under the caution. Couple waiver rounds getting dished out. This one's going to Donnie Moore in that number 26 machine. So you see him getting waved around the pace car. Cycle to the tail end of the field. That will put him onto the lead lap. See if anyone else ends up taking wave around. We have the 00 Matt Chinovsky back out there on the racetrack. Still a lot of damage on that 00 Hardy's machine. Might suspect that he thinks the damage isn't so bad that he needed the fast repair or needed to use the reset. Not sure if I agree with that strategy call, though, because it put him 2 laps down taking the repairs. But we'll have to wait and see. The lights go out on the safety car, and the field's getting ready to form up.
Again, Charles Lahr going to be the control car on this restart. The one that changes, though, is Dustin Powers up from 5th, now to 2nd. With the drivers having problems there on the restart on the outside lane, he's going to move up to the runner-up position. Mike Holloway in 3rd, so he's going to have to look to make some moves along with Todd Liston. Right here, top 5 is Lowell Jewell.
Running in 6th, the 2-tone light blue and white number 98 of J.R. Shepard's in there as well. Green flag back out. Your top couple spots are going to be under contention already. Charles Lahr's already through and clear. With 31 of Mike Holloway, he's going to go down to the bottom and take the fight to that 25 of Dustin Powers, and he'll have that spot off of 2.
Holloway moves up to 2nd, so he's looking to be where he deserves to be because he got stuck on that outside lane. The problem is, if we get another caution, he's going to be right back where he started. So he's going to try and look to catch that number 4 machine and try and take the lead.
So down the back straightaway, the field's going to go once again as Charles Lahr has cycled out to your race lead. It has about a 0.3 of a second advantage over that 31 on Mike Holloway. They're going to come across start finish. The final Fonz, I think, got a piece of the wall once again the second time. So that 13 car, seems like there's actually several people tonight, Gabe, that are just struggling tight.
Yeah, I talked about it in the pre-race. It was going to be loose. It looks like they have proven me wrong by the opposite. These guys are just getting tight coming off the corner. And it's a really hard racetrack to master here at Five Flags because you got to be really easy on the gas to get the car turned back down the racetrack. And right now, 8 cars in the lead lap, that's pretty much showing it because we started this race with 14. Pretty much all of them have side or right side damage from hitting the outside wall. These guys are going to have to be careful if they want to make it the rest of the way.
One thing to keep in mind is that there's a lot of racetracks that aren't nearly as fast as this one. That can sort of mess with you mentally because, you know, most of the half-mile racetracks are, you know, 3/8 or maybe a little bit bigger depending on where they run, are a little bit flatter, and you can't carry quite the speed to the corner to see the 98 of J.R. Shepard. He's making a move on the inside of the 87 of Todd Liston, and he's going to have that spot. Going to maintain the bottom groove through 3 and 4, and he's going to hold on to it. So move the 98 of J.R. Shepard up 6 spots and into your top 5. Excuse me, he's already in 5th. Now he's in 4th. So up 7 spots right now in the evening. But when you have a track that's so quick like this, when these guys are used to doing 70 to 80 miles an hour through the corners, they're now doing an extra 20 through the corners with all that banking and how wide the corners here are at Five Flag Speedway, and that can be, you know, make things a little bit difficult, and maybe for some of these guys be a little bit more difficult to judge.
We're talking on the racetrack. We say here comes J.R. Shepard, battle for 3rd now. He got to the inside and down the back straightaway. A great move to get to the bottom. J.R. Shepard's going to make the easy pass for the 3rd position, the last spot on the podium. I don't think he's going to be pretty much satisfied with that one. And the one thing to look out for, this is pretty much a battle for the championship lead between Stefan and J.R. Shepard, because Charlie Kuzma is not in tonight's field, unfortunately, so he's going to lose that points lead and a couple more points. But J.R. Shepard's looking to take over that lead, getting into the last part of the schedule.
When he found that apron coming through corners number 1 and 2, did a good job to hold on to it because that apron will shoot you around quick. And as Gabe mentioned, you look through corners number 3 and 4, there's no white line painted on the asphalt, kind of denoting the apron the way there is in 1 and 2. So interesting that he would make that mistake on in 1 and 2 rather than 3 and 4, but did a good job to hold on to it as he's trying to reel in Mike Holloway out in front. But Holloway's doing a good job maintaining that gap with a couple hundredths quicker last time through around the racetrack. Let's see what he does here. It's a 4:10 for Holloway and a 3:40 for Shepard. So Shepard's going to claw it back just a little bit, but Charles Lahr meanwhile out in front, circulating in 3:87. So he's doing a good job out there as Charles Lahr. He's not running away, but he's not letting anyone catch and really hound him aggressively here either.
Gap goes down about a 10th now between J.R. Shepard and the leader Charles Lahr. Lahr doing a good job hanging on to this lead. He's out by almost half a second. Looks like Mike Holloway starting to find a little bit of speed here. He's catching him in that Qualcomm 31 machine. Got to the start-finish line that time. Oh, he caught him by about a 10th as well, did J.R. Shepard. So these guys slowly start to come together. Problem is, when Charles Lahr and Mike Holloway start getting and racing together, that's going to let J.R. Shepard in undoubtedly the fastest car here tonight. It's going to let him catch up even faster. So these guys are going to have to watch out and make their passes quick.
Going to be something they definitely have to consider here as guys work themselves out here around the speedway once again. Before Charles Lahr still doing his best to run away from the field. That Qualcomm Ford, of course, doing his best as well. And actually, I mean, just in terms of thinking about that, I think right now if you're Mike Holloway, either you have a spotter that's going to be telling you that J.R. Shepard has been closing in, or you need to be paying very close attention to your black boxes. Now he's 0.6 of a second back. I honestly think if you're Mike Holloway, you might just cruise in that second spot for a while. You don't want to start fighting with that Ford Charles Lahr and potentially allow that 98 of J.R. Shepard to reel in at an accelerated rate, because then you start fighting for that race lead, let that 98 car catch up. And that 98, I think Shepard will make short work of both Holloway and Lahr if he's able to get to either of them. And then suddenly, yeah, you spend all that time fighting for that lead position. He comes up and just goes, blows your doors off. You just use your tires for really just maintaining the same spot.
Well, these guys are starting to catch each other. A little bit of a battle between 6th, 7th, and 8th. Your final drivers on the lead lap. Devon Alphonse, Todd Liston, and Donnie Moore battling there. Here comes Todd Liston to the inside. He shows the nose, and Stefan Alphonse bunges. Now Todd Liston goes to the inside. Started 3rd. He's worked his way all the way back to 7th. So he's going to try and work his way back to the field. And he's going to get a good position there on the 13 machine as they come into turn number 4 and down the front straightaway off into turn 1. And everybody's favorite Austrian gets moved to the outside lane all the way back to 8th.
Yeah, and he's still going backwards. Donnie Moore is close to the back of that 87 of Todd Liston as well. It was a good move from Todd when he's able to get down there to the inside and show the nose on that 13. Stefan, I still think, struggling tight with that race car and wasn't quite able to get it down to the inside. And Liston wasted no time to slot the nose up the inside to take that race lead away. Number 4 car still leading of Charles Lahr by about 0.4 of a second over Mike Holloway. It's actually over 0.4 of a second. J.R. Shepard is starting to bring that gap down just a little bit as the fight is continuing between Liston and Donnie Moore. Moore, a little bit of a run. Going to look to the inside. Can he get on the brakes late enough? No. The 87 Liston sort of shuts the door, but he kind of is hesitant getting back down to the bottom. That almost allowed Moore to make a move, but Liston gets really lucky there. Donnie Moore, if he had been a little bit more aggressive, I think we'd be talking about him in the 5th spot.
Liston continuing to try and make that middle lane work. He's actually making it work pretty well here. All these guys are running the bottom side of the racetrack, right around the bottom, and Stefan Olfon's kissing the outside wall yet again. You know, for most guys, I would say that they need to back it down, but I think Stefan's actually making it work, because you've seen him do that about 12 times this year, and he's come away with 2 victories, so we might not want to judge him too quickly.
It's definitely something to keep in mind. You don't want to get too judgmental, especially because people have had race wins in the past. Says the 26 of Donnie Moore. Going to get a run on Todd Liston here on the bottom. Todd, a little bit of a mistake through 1 and 2. And the 26 car, once again, wasting no time. It gets down there, up the inside, and picks up that spot. So well done by the number 26. We got a car on the wall. And the 87, the 13 are involved. The number 5 machine of Lowell Jewell is the one who makes the mistake off corner number 4. We got another 3-car pileup down the front straightaway.
And the guys we were just talking about caught up in that. Going to get the replay up for you as we're nearing the halfway point. Oh my gosh. Is that an equipment failure for the 5 machine? Because he was just in the middle of turns 3 and 4. And it looks like he got to the apron. Yeah, maybe a steering box failure, just a complete equipment failure, because I think he was just trying to find somewhere on the racetrack to put that thing.
I don't think so. I think it was actually sort of related to, he had a little bit of an I think something broke on that car because he was still steering in the car. It doesn't look like the equipment completely gave way, but in towards 3 and 4, he got really, really loose, and the car spun around, and they actually caught the left front tire on that wall, and I think that broke something in the suspension and the steering angles of that car, because no matter what he did with the steering, it wouldn't do anything. So that number 5, a Lowell Jewell, unfortunate for him, he just finds the outside wall, and 26 of Donnie Moore is probably counting his lucky stars to miss that one as the 87 of Todd Liston comes back down pit road, and we are under yellow for, I believe, the 3rd time tonight.
Unfortunate for the drivers, and that'll put, see if Stefan Olfons can stay on the lead lap. That will put Kenny Kibbe back onto the lead lap, but Stefan looks like he's going to take his reset along with Liston. Looks like actually, wow, Liston just hit the outside wall in turn 2, or excuse me, turn 3. Coming back onto the racetrack.
He had an equipment failure.
Yeah, oh my gosh, that car just quit steering.
Yep, that's that stereotypical wheel disconnected from the computer. If we do it on board, you watch the hands and listen to the engine revs. Well, the steering wheel went dead straight and the engine locked full throttle. That is something that does happen from time to time, and that's unfortunate for that 87 because he was having a good run. Looks like he's got that thing back under control. May have been a bit of a momentary failure, but it's going to be a momentary failure that cost him quite a lot.
So that'll leave 7 cars, now 6 cars on the lead lap. Or excuse me, it will leave 7 because Todd Liston will go a lap down, maybe trying to fix this damage, but Kenny Kibbe will move back.
Yeah, we'll get an 8th one. Have an 8th one for now. It'll depend on how long Todd Liston's on pit road. Maybe he'll think the damage isn't too bad. Maybe he can think he can beat the pace car out here. We'll have to see what the 87 car does. Kibbe's going to pick up the spot, though, out there on the racetrack in that 14 machine. The field works their way through. Man, oh man, talk about an eventful night of racing tonight, Gabe. We're 46 laps into this thing, and half the field's gone.
Well, it'll make for one heck of a race up front because these guys are all racing for the win now. It's pretty much just go for it. I mean, we're at the halfway point. Still 50 laps to go. I'm looking pretty excited, and if we keep getting cautions like this, we'll run into the same situation we did last week, where the guys actually ran out of time. Only got 40 minutes to complete 100 laps, which, you know, it hasn't been a problem ever. But, you know, you start getting a few cautions, and it starts to get in danger. We actually had to cut the race early last week.
So we do have
the race up to that point.
Yeah, but we're back to green flag racing here. They're side by side for 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. One car's way at the racetrack. I actually think that's Kenny Kibbe would have just gotten his lead. No, it's the 00 Machinowski, excuse me. But side by side here, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. I believe J.R. Shepard was involved with that. Donnie Moore, Dustin Powers, Ben Azinga, and Stefan Alphonse.
So we got a battle for the lead. The 4 machine.
Oh, the 25.
25 goes up the racetrack.
Dustin Powers involved in an incident. He gets sent up into the outside wall. Who is that? He was racing with the 17. Bazinga. I'm going to get in trouble.
I could just leave.
Ben Azinga, rookie, first night of racing here, involved in 3 incidents thus far. The good news is, although he's been involved with 3 incidents, that is the first one that could even be argued being his fault. But I think he was there. I think I put that on the 25, to be honest. I think the 17 had the spot, definitely had the overlap that he needed.
I'm looking back at the replay here, Randy. I mean, the 17 had just, I mean, he had a half a lane to go to the bottom, but he held his lane. 25 just tried to pinch him.
So field going to circulate once again under caution. I believe that's the 5th one we've had. You know who has to be loving this? Not number 4, Charles Lahr, because Charles, remember, he serves me right. He started up near the front last week and just didn't quite have the speed and kind of fell through the order. Tonight he finished pretty deep down the order. Tonight he gets the pole position because of that, and he's led pretty much the entire way here. He has good pace. I don't think he's the quickest car by any means, but every single caution he gets, even though it restacks up the field, it means the likes of J.R. Shepard and the 31 of Mike Holloway means they sort of have to mentally reset, and it allows Charles Lahr to control these restarts and open up a gap for himself every single time we go green. That number 4 car has been leading all night here tonight. Has to be loving these cautions.
Past the halfway point now, Randy, and things that you're seeing so far tonight. I mean, we've seen some good racing, we've seen some wrecking, but you know, that's really just been a product of guys hitting the outside wall and the inside wall of the caution before. So, you know, what have you seen so far?
A lot of cautions, just a lot of aggressive driving pretty much, and people struggling with those race cars. This is a fixed series. Maybe that fixed setup a little bit tight, but you talked about the time limitation. I think that might come into play if we keep this up. 100 laps, 40 minutes, usually not an issue, but we're only 3 laps past the halfway point. Technically only 2 laps running that 3rd lap right now, and we're already 22 minutes into this race. I think technically 20 minutes into this thing. So if this keeps up, there is a very, very slight chance that time constraint could come in, Gabe. But the thing is that, I think 20 lap run, if we can get something like that, I think we'll basically erase that time constraint as a concern.
If we look, we've elapsed about 22 minutes, and about 2 minutes of that was under the pace lap. So that'll be one thing to look out for here. But we're gonna have to got the one to go this time. I do believe you have to put Charles Lahr still leading this race. This may be a point to where we see, we haven't seen the reverse grid work out for too many guys, Randy, in this series in the 2 seasons we broadcasted here on LSRTV. But we might see it work out for him, because Charles Lahr, he's pretty much been the fastest guy up front, or except maybe J.R. Shepard. So we're back into the green flag here. Green flag on lap number 54.
We're back to green flag racing. The 4 Charles Lahr, he got on it early, but doesn't have the gap I think he would like. The 98 of J.R. Shepard up the inside of the 31 of Mike Holloway. He tags the apron. He's going to have to be careful getting on the throttle. Does a good job of it. The 26 of Donnie Moore chomping at the bit to pick up a spot as well. As through 3 and 4 there will come the 98 of J.R. Shepard. Is going to have that second spot at the line and move Mike Holloway back to 3rd and possibly more. The 26 of Donnie Moore and the 13 of Stefan Alphonse. They're down there on the bottom, and the train is coming, and the 31 is off the tracks.
And he's back on the track, slides back into the 4th spot to J.R. Shepard. He's now up from the 2nd spot. Stefan Alphonse up to 5th. It's going to be a tight championship battle yet again here, Randy, toward the back half of the year. And here comes the 31 machine. Look at him. I was going to say something about the 13, but here comes the 31 down to the inside of Donnie Moore. Can he get anything going? He's got the inside position. Will the 26 shut the door? He will not, going into turn number 1, so 40 laps to go in just a few laps, and there goes Mike Holloway up back into the 3rd position.
He's going to be happy with that. We're going to try to work his way forward as J.R. Shepard's been able to open up a pretty big gap as he's been reeling in Charles Lahr. Last cycle through around the racetrack, 2.98 for Charles Lahr versus a 2.46 for J.R. Shepard. So J.R. has the pace to hound that number 4 machine, but does he have the pace to make a pass on this 4 car of Charles Lahr? Because thus far, no one else has been relatively close to the pace of that 4 machine, Gabe. And for J.R. Shepard right now, he doesn't look considerably faster. He looks quicker for sure, maybe a little bit more comfortable as well. But is that enough to maybe move him up a spot? I'm not quite sure. You know, the old saying goes, catching is one thing, passing is another. The 98 of Shepard gets a run, and I'm really surprised he didn't go for it into 1 right there.
J.R. Shepard, he knows he's faster than him. He just has to pick his spot and make sure that he doesn't wreck himself or Charles Lahr in the process. We'll have to wait and see if they can make this move. Everybody single filed out now, except we got a battle room between the 13 and the 25. We're going to have to pick that up in just a moment because these guys are battling hard for the lead here. J.R. Shepard moves to the bottom side of the racetrack. He's all the way on the apron, trying to get any kind of momentum he can going. He's going to run the high side. This is an old dirt track move. Move to the high side, get as much room between you and power out the corner. See if you can get anything going. Looks like it worked out for him, but just not enough. Couldn't get to the inside.
We had a little bit of contact deeper in the field between the 14 of Kenny Kimby and the 17 of Ben Azinga, but able to hold on to that with both of those drivers, so we stay green. Inside of 40 laps to go now, and the field cycles back down in towards corners number 1 and 2. Everyone's pretty much single file amongst your race leaders. First side-by-side is deeper in the field. The 00 Matt Chinoski actually fighting with that 17 car now as well, as they roll down the back straightaway in towards 3 and 4. The 00 Chinoski, who is still 1 lap down, technically 1 lap down, and actually the 17 of Ben Azinga is down a lap as well. So that incident with Kenny Kimby was not for position, but now Azinga looks set to lose a position here, and the 00 Chinoski has it. And the fight for the race lead happened, and J.R. Shepard is going to pick up that race lead.
And here comes Mike Holloway. Charles Lahr's going to move up the racetrack. Holloway now moves up into the 2nd spot. So not only does Charles Lahr lose the lead, he's going to now be in danger of falling off the podium.
Definitely the threat right now as he's going to cycle and get back in the line. The 98 of J.R. Shepard coming from deep in this field, started in 11th, currently runs in that 1st spot as he head down now through corners number 3 and 1 and 2, excuse me, and down the back straightaway. J.R. doing his best with that little side-by-side movement, allowed that 31 of Mike Holloway to reel him in, and that 31 is coming alive here late in the race. He's a little bit quicker last trip around the racetrack. Mike Holloway might just have something for your new race leader if he can maintain this sort of speed.
We talked about the pre-race, Randy. Mike Holloway has had those races to where he just rattles off top 5 finishes, starts in the back, and then just gets caught up in somebody else's mess. That's why he's so far down in the points. He's shown the speed, just has not been able to come through with a victory. Now this might be the opportunity he gets here in Five Flag Speedway. He's only 3/10 off of J.R. Shepard. Shepard trying to go for his 3rd win of the year. Holloway, like I said, going for his 1st win. A little bit of a gap growing now, but all Holloway has to do is make sure that he hits his mark. And J.R. Shepard, he's prone to making a mistake every once in a while, so we're gonna have to look out for that as well.
Oh, he's very close to the outside wall. Charles Lahr gets even closer and rides up, but we got to know someone else is even closer. Stopped on the front straightaway. Who is that? I believe it was 25. Yes, it was. It was Dustin Powers. Has an incident, but we stay green after he gets that car towed off. 98 machine to J.R. Shepard, I think, is going to love that as we have 30 laps to go.
Gap now growing to 4/10 of a second, almost half a second between your top 2. Everybody's single filing out now. Stefan Alphonse is your final driver inside the top 5. 1.7 seconds back. Then it's Kenny Kimby and Dustin Powers round out. And looks like Dustin Powers, yeah, after he takes that tow, that'll leave 6 cars on the lead lap with the 14 machine of Kenny Kimby, your final driver. And Mike Holloway closing in just a little bit. It's back under 4/10 of a second here, Randy.
Yeah, this gap is closing in. Mike Holloway doing a good job. 3:57 the gap last trip around the racetrack. Mike Holloway, as we're approaching 25 laps to go, going to try to chase him down. The fight for 3rd is close as well. Charles Lahr and Donnie Moore. Only a couple tenths of a second separates those two, as Mike Holloway lost a little bit of ground that last trip around the racetrack. The 98 of J.R. Shepard, you mentioned it. We've seen him make mistakes in the past, but he looks pretty bulletproof tonight. We've seen him find the apron a couple times, but outside of that, we haven't seen sort of the big mistakes we've seen others make.
He's been on a rail pretty much the entire night. He's had to work up from 11th down to 1st. unless he starts making mistakes here, Randy, I don't think J.R. Shepherd's going to be able to, J.R. Shepherd's going to lose this race because we're closing in 20 laps to go.
While we're inside of 25 laps to go, coming to 20, as the fight is on for third right now. Charles Lahr and Donnie Moore. Donnie Moore had the inside group, wasn't quite able to hold on to it, and now he's going to fall back to that fourth spot. Charles Lahr is going to take up that third spot once again. One-time pole sitter and pretty much the man who is leading in the majority of this race. J.R. Shepherd got an opportunity to make a pass, took it, and he got by relatively quickly. Now for Charles Lahr, just has to try to maintain this position here. He wants to stay on the top step, or at least on that podium on that third step, if nothing else.
Lahr continuing, he's just slowly working farther and farther up the racetrack. I've seen him get close to it, you as well. And we saw, I believe it was the 25 getting to the outside wall. So these guys are flirting with it. Meanwhile, J.R. Shepherd is still pulling away. That move for third didn't work for Donnie Moore. He's going to try and mount another charge at it with 20 laps to go.
What can Donnie do? Because he's lost a little bit of ground here as they work their way off of corner number 4 with 20 laps remaining. Last couple laps, Charles Lahr has done a good job to stretch that gap back out. Not really catching that 31 of Mike Holloway at all, but getting away from the 26 of Donnie Moore, which I think is the main thing. Right now, up and down your field, everything's pretty much single filed out. No real fights for position to speak of whatsoever. Everything's kind of cycled its way through. Really only have, I think, the window the next 10 laps. If we're going to have any sort of side-by-side racing, someone somewhere is going to have to pick up the pace right now.
Yep, over half a second between first and second, and then it's an entire second back to third. So Charles Lahr's got his a podium finish pretty much locked up here, unless Donnie Moore can find some speed, which he's found a little bit here, Randy, but I don't think it's going to be enough. And then Stefan Alfonso and Kenny Kippy, they've had enough damage to where they're pretty much out of tonight's fight. We're closing in 15 laps to go. A couple of drivers that are still out there, Mastronowski and Benazinga, are 7th and 8th. And as we talked about, Dustin Powers, John Holcomb, Todd Liston, Lowell Jewell, Eric Nordhoff, and John Hain are all off of the racetrack. So 8 cars are left out on the racetrack with your field of 14.
Well, it doesn't look like things are going to get interesting out in front for the race lead anytime soon as J.R. Shepherd continues to stretch that gap. It's now out to 7/10 of a second. But the last couple laps, Donnie Moore's done a good job. The gap's come down a little bit to that 4 machine of Charles Lahr. He took almost a full 10th out of that 4-car last trip around the racetrack. And as they come through again, I think a little bit more time again goes the way. Actually, no, take that back. Charles opening it up by just a couple hundredths of a second. So pretty much equal here for that 3rd or 4th spot. And that's so frustrating if you're that 26 of Donnie Moore, because that number 4 car is just tantalizing out in front of you, just sitting there. And when the gap just doesn't change lap on lap on lap, it'll sometimes incentivize the driver to start pushing really, really hard. And that's when you might see a mistake happen. We got about 15 laps to go.
Yeah, and on the flip side of that, you do catch them. Say you catch them by about 2/10, it's not enough. But then you start thinking, how the heck did I do that? And then you end up wrecking yourself trying to figure out how you caught them so fast.
Big thing to watch here as this field cycles around. Approaching 10 laps to go, coming to lap number 89 of 100. J.R. Shepherd continues to lead, pretty much been the fastest car all night. I'm not sure if he'll technically be in for most laps led, but through now, down the max straightaway once again, the 4-car of Charles Lahr trying to work his way forward and keep away that 26 of Donnie Moore, but it's all eyes on the 98 of J.R. Shepherd right now. It's basically everyone out. It's basically about a 5-car gap between every single car in our top 4 right now.
Completely riveting race for the lead here, Randy.
Dynamite drop in there, Gabe, for sure.
But J.R. Shepherd, he's continuing his dominance. I mean, like we said earlier, he's starting in the back, which he's going to have to do this week. If he, he's pretty much guaranteed to have to start toward the back half of the top 10. And he's had so much practice doing it because, like we said, he's won twice this year. I also like to point out that Mike Holloway is catching him. So there's another thing to throw out there. But he's had so much experience saving his tires, working his way through the field at the same time. It's pretty much impossible to beat him if he's on his game, which he led practice and was the fastest in the only round of practice. So he's pretty much been on his game all night.
Well, you mentioned he was catching him. It was a couple hundredths the last couple laps, and 600s just went the way of that 98 of J.R. Shepherd. So while he might be catching, it's not by a whole heck of a lot. It doesn't look like it's by enough. The field is going to come through with under 10 laps remaining. Getting ready to come up to 5 laps to go and just a couple trips around this circuit. Jared Shepard continues to lead the way as a little bit further down the order. I think I see some cars that are close to one another. Is that for position? Yeah, Alphonse and Kibbe have sort of reeled each other in just a little bit, but it's still about a 0.3 of a second gap that Kibbe in the closing laps needs to find a way to overcome. And that last trip around the racetrack, he went 0.2 the wrong way.
5 laps to go this time by. What's the gap going to be? Just under 4.5 tenths yet again. Holloway's catching him, but Randy is just not going to be enough at this pace. He's going to have to wait for Shepard to make a mistake, which we've seen guys hit the apron, and Shepard's been flirting with that apron all night. He's been able to hang on to it. He's got some of the best car control for the guys up front, and a full tenth goes by the way of J.R. Shepard that time, so I don't think it's going to happen. And we're inside the gap now to where we're not, if we get a caution, the race will be over with.
Any yellow flag right here, right now, will end the race. They have 3 laps remaining here at 5 flags through corner number 2 for the final, well, not even penultimate time. What am I thinking? Corners number 3 and 4, Jared Shepard. I bet he wishes it was the final time because just 2 more laps to go for him. 1 mile left, and he'll have this one pretty much all wrapped up. 31 on Mike Holloway. 0.8 of a second back as that fight for third is closed up just a little bit. Lar and more, about 0.5 of a second, but it continues to ebb and flow as between Alphonse and Kibbe. That's the gap. I think it's pretty much done and over with. 0.4 of a second between them. There's a 13 of Alphonse, very wide through 3 and 4 right there. But the white flag waves for the 98 of J.R. Shepard, who will come off corner number 2 and down the back straightaway now for the final time. And in towards 3 and 4. That 98 car, who's been so flawless, easily, I think, the best driver in this championship, he will win here at 5 flags with Mike Holloway in that second spot, and Charles Law rounding out your top 3. Who in those fights deep down the order is going to come home? Well, pretty much going to be the order they ran in. So, Gabe, a lot of excitement early on that turned into a bit of a slow burner at the end, but those fireworks early definitely killed about half the field.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because it took out a lot of the guys. Like Benazinga, he was actually fast for his first race. He comes home with an 8th place finish, but he was working his way up to the field twice, getting caught up in wrecks like that. And Lowell Jewell, guys like he, Eric Nordhoff, and John Hain just get taken out early. Unfortunate for them, but still, it looks like J.R. Shepard, he was already working his way through the field along with Stefan Alphonse, so those guys pretty much finished where they should have. Stefan might have been able to give him something, but he ended up getting a little bit of damage late in the night. But still, all in all, a good race for these guys here at 5 Flags Speedway.
So, as the number 98 car does some celebrating, we're going to take you down your full race results here on LSRTV from round number 7 of the Bootleg Racing League Outlaw Modified Series. After 100 laps of action, it's the 98 of J.R. Shepard who takes victory with Mike Holloway in second. Charles Law rounds out that podium in that 3rd spot with Donnie Moore in 4th and Stefan Alphonse rounding out your top 5. Kenny Kibbe sits in 6th with Matt Chinosky in 7th. Ben Izinga is in 8th. Dustin Powers 9th, and John Holcomb rounds out your top 10. He will have the pole position going into next week. Think about that. 47 laps down and he gets the pole. Todd Liston, Lowell Jewell, Eric Nordhoff, and John Hine round out the 14-car field. We're going to take a short break here on LSRTV. Then when we come back, we will have post-race coverage for you here in just a couple moments.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of LSRTV and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Live Sim Racing LLC and iRacing.com Motorsport Simulations. LSRTV would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.
Well, after 100 laps of action here in the Bootleg Racing League Outlaw Modified Series, it ends up being the number 98 of J.R. Shepard who takes the win after being deep down the field early thus far in this one. And we're about to be joined by that number 98 driver in just a moment. We got him. JR, what a run for you. Started in 11th. You wasted no time. You were up 3 spots early. A couple incidents in front of you picked you up some more spots. And, well, you look like a man on a mission tonight. Up 10 to take the win. How'd it feel?
Oh yeah, it felt pretty good, especially after last week and getting involved in an accident that happened in front of me. So I knew I didn't have a whole lot of time to waste and needed to get to the front as soon as I could.
There was a lot of people tonight that were struggling tight in this race. We saw a number of people come off turn 4 and plow that wall. What is it about that fourth corner with people catching that outside wall? Because we saw, I think, 4 separate incidents of people doing that where it brought out the yellow, and a couple people just found the outside wall all by themselves.
Yeah, turn 4 really gets tight, especially longer into the run in these SK modifieds, and really the banking kind of falls off, so you get a false sense of security coming out of that corner, and all of a sudden the car just shoves up. So, got to be real careful and watch how you enter and get through the apex of that corner to help your exit out.
Well, with Charlie Kuzma taking a no-show tonight and Stefan Alphonse having a bad run, this, I think, might just pole vault you up into the top stage of the points. How's that got to feel? You'll have the most wins on the season with 3, and I think you'll have the points lead as we start getting deep into this season. I'm sure that has to be feel nice.
Yeah, it would, but right now it's just all about trying to get the best finishes we can, and as long as we're doing that, the points will take care of themselves.
Well, congratulations on the win, JR. That number 98 seemed absolutely flawless. Before we let you go, who gets it done for you?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Lowell Jewell and the Bootleg Racing League for everything that he does, allowing us to do this each and every week. It's a great series. Hopefully the fans enjoy watching us, and also good race by Mike Holloway and Charles Lard tonight. They were up front all night, so great night, guys.
Thank you for joining us, JR, and congratulations once again on that race win. But you mentioned a couple of those guys. The 31 of Mike Holloway, he's now going to be joined by one and only Gabe Wood.
Down here on pit road with the 31 machine of Mike Holloway. Mike, congratulations. I know it's not the result you wanted, but it looks like you were playing the bridesmaid pretty much all night. You come home second after starting second. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, it was a good race. I was really looking for a good run. This historically been one of my better tracks, so I was looking for some big things to happen, and they did, but just one spot short.
And we saw you catching him in the late stages. I mean, you ended up losing him by about a second, but you started catching him in those late stages. Was that him just letting off, or was it you just kind of trying something different, trying to catch him at the end of the race?
It may have been a little bit of both. When you race a JR, I always assume he's not giving it any more than he has to. So, but I was trying a lot of different things. I was throwing everything I had at it, trying different lines, lift points, picking up the throttle at different points. I mean, I was throwing everything I could at him, but with about 4 or 5 to go there, I really shot my foot off and caught a little bit too much of the apron off of 4, got it a little bit loose, and lost about 2/10 to him, and that pretty much did me in right there.
Well, you're going to be starting deep in the field in the next race. You work your way through the field like JR did tonight?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there's a lot of fast guys in this league, and it's really, you just got to kind of take what's thrown at you and see how it plays out as the race gets started.
All right, Mike, well, we're going to let you go here and let you celebrate your second place finish. Anybody want to thank before we let you go?
I really just got to thank Lowell for giving us a good, fun place to race. I always enjoy racing here.
All right, that's Mike Holloway in the 31 machine, and now Randy's caught up with your third place finisher, your pole sitter, Charles Lahr.
I'm stood by with that 4-car. Charles, you look pretty quick tonight. You started on the pole after not a great finish last week. Managed to maintain good pace, but unfortunately when J.R. Shepard got to you, I think it was a little slight mistake from you, allowed him to get down to the bottom. When he got around you, he pretty much sprinted away, and Mike Holloway was able to take advantage of that situation as well. But I think you have to be happy with the top 3 with the sort of talent that's in a field like this.
Yeah, top 3 I'm happy with. I just happy that JR, Matt, me, we had a good run. Just want to thank them for letting me run with those guys. Like to thank a couple of my sponsors, Big C's, Paint Shop, and the Outlaws.
Now, talking about this racetrack here at Five Flags here in Pensacola, what's your opinion on it? Charles, you had good pace. You like this place?
Oh, yeah, it's a fast track, and that's one of my favorites.
Well, thank you for joining us, Charles. Fantastic run for you. You already went down the sponsors, so we look forward to seeing you have a good run next week.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on, guys. Have a good night.
You are more than welcome, Gabe, as these guys put up 100 laps of action. Fortunately, lost a lot of the field in the early goings, but still good fights up and down the field through about the first 70 laps. Last 30, though, was a little bit of a slow burner as everyone pretty much got themselves single-filed out.
Yeah, but still a good race overall. We had a potential for something big to happen there, but as Mike Holloway said, just couldn't get it there at the end and started making a few mistakes. And we thought it was going to come from somebody like J.R. Shepard trying to run away from the rest of the field. But he was pretty much flawless all night. So, congrats to J.R., and he becomes his first 3-time winner on the season.
You know, he has to be loving that. The fact that you had, the current points leader pretty much no-show in Charlie Kuzma, and Stefan Alfon is not having a great night. Thank you for that 98 of J.R. Shepard. You're likely pretty happy leaving here tonight with a win, because that's going to be hugely important for you in the points.
Yeah, and you also have to remember that Stefan Alfon's finished 5th, and he didn't take over the points lead last season until late in the year. So that'll be one thing to look out for as Stefan just starts slowly racking off some more finishes. He's already got 2 wins on the year. So that'll be one thing to look out for toward the end of the season.
Well, that is going to do it for us here on LSRTV. Be sure not to go away, because in just a couple of moments, we will have the Truck Series kicking off as well, part of our usual Saturday doubleheader. But from over here at LSRTV, from myself, Randy Chinitz, from Gabe Wood, and from Cisco Scaramouza, thank you for joining us tonight. We hope to see you next week for part of our Saturday doubleheaders. If not, well, that's unfortunate, but we hope to see you. Goodbye.